I've been watching and getting into role playing. Um so
Wait a minute,
you
hold on.
know
Role playing games or the
yeah,
other
yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah.
of?
Role playing
Yeah,
games. No, no,
say
no, no.
yeah. Definitely
So
say
so not that
games.
kind of role playing.
Okay, okay.
But yes, role playing games, tabletop. In fact, I actually started watching Dimension 20. I don't know if you guys heard of that
I've never heard of that. What is that?
collection before. It's
No.
a so there's this guy. He's one of my idols, right? His name is Brennan Lee Mulligan. He DMs the whole thing. He's actually a writer
So
for
DM
shows.
Dungeon Master,
Yeah, Dungeon
right?
Master.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So being a writer, for shows and for skits and all that, you can tell that, his mind is all, creates like so many characters, and therefore his campaigns are typically like movies,
Right.
Some of his um kind of sessions sometimes are better than movies because you have that unpredictability of a role, and also you have like the harshness of like the chemistry of the group, because depending on how the group kind of acts towards dungeon master,
Mm-hmm.
the dungeon master could choose to make it harder for them or make it easier for them. It's up to his like whimsical view of the situation, which is
Right.
really interesting for me.
So you've played Dungeons and Dragons before, right?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
own it? Is it something you
uh
own?
so Dungeons and Dragons is actually not, so you can only get the books. It's a mechanic, right? Like it's not really a, what do you say, like an off the shelf tabletop
Plus
type
the,
of deal.
the lawsuits that are going on right now. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like it's more akin to like a concept. Like, do you like, do you play the concept of, like tag? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a game you can pull out.
Right. You
But
don't buy
it's,
it.
yeah, I mean, we could even do like a 1 minute campaign right now if you wanted to. So I don't need to pull anything out of the shelf or whatnot. So
Do they have figurines that you can paint or landscapes that you can put them on, or is that's it? Kind of a DIY type of thing. You can add those elements if you want.
that's definitely, merch does come from the makers or the owners of D&D, which is like Wizard of the Coast. They do sell a lot of the stuff. One of the cool things they actually do is you can actually steal their intellectual property and build merch for yourself, and they won't take
Mm-hmm.
a cut.
For
Um
now.
Unless you make over seven
for
hundred and
now.
fifty thousand dollars and you're a big company.
So that was a leak, right? Like a leak of their new licensing, which they're kind of
Mm.
backing out now. But
Mm.
Well, they're
I'm
owned
not.
by Hasbro now, which is a money making conglomerate.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Hasbro.
Yeah.
Mm.
So therein lies the problem. A lot
They
of people
probably feel the
are upset.
pressure from the top. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that sucks.
Yeah. They were talking about it last weekend at what of our meetings, and I kind of just was, listening or whatever because I don't
Who was
play
talking
Dungeons
about
and
it?
Dragons. Some people.
The
We,
biggest
we had
nerd.
a birthday party last weekend for a member, a mutual friend, and a bunch of the people were talking about the Hasbro Wizards of the Coast lawsuit because a lot of the people that have made campaigns and games and stuff, they sell their own intellectual, their own IP,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're being pressured by Hasbro to stop, basically, so that Hasbro wants to take their IP and sell it and not give them a cut. Something along those lines. I'm not
Well, the
being clear.
the rule or the leaked new license, it wasn't in place. It was just kind of previewed.
Just like to.
Was that if you take their IP instead of having it 100% free than it was before, right? Because that was what's now currently in place. They will now, just like Google, if you use our stuff, your stuff is ours in perpetuity.
Right.
But you have the right to use it forever also.
Okay.
Like when you upload a photo on Google, for example, I don't know if you guys
Perpetual
know this, but
license.
um anything you use, your emails, your phone if you have an Android, your Google Drive and your photos, anything you get into Google's free services, Google perpetually owns, and you're just getting a license to use it for free, forever.
Mm-hmm.
So Wizards of the Coast tried to pull a Google on that one, and there's a lot of passionate users of the content,
Yeah.
and that wasn't looked well upon. I'm not affected because I'm not selling anything, but you could tell that the games themselves, like Magic and D&D, most of those are, the only reason why they still exist today is because of the user base, of the creative minds of people who play them and people who study them. And when you even think about it, D&D is just a rip-off of Lord of the Rings. So them ripping off another thing, and
Another
then they're
IP,
letting
right?
everyone else rip off them, and now
Yeah.
they're trying to monetize that. I don't know.
Well,
Except for the rip-off part, that's like Disney, but okay.
Yeah, how they take all the classic fairy tales and make it their own, and then it's like, we own Snow White. No, you don't. You have a version of Snow White, a Disney-fied version, or the Little Mermaid, but not.
Yeah,
you don't own the IP. It's what do you
the
call it?
copyright law, though. But that,
I mean, it's what do you call it? It's not trademark or copyrighted by anybody. It's open source,
Public
or
domain.
Yeah,
public domain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Winnie the Pooh just Winnie the Pooh and Piglet just were
That
now
movie,
open domain.
that horror movie that's coming out with Pooh.
So they did that. They did the same thing with Pride and Prejudice. When that went to open domain, they made a horror movie out of that. So it's 75 years after the so, and Disney, I think, were the ones that made that law, or pushed for it, and now that their time is up, they're trying to say, oh, no, let's make it longer or whatever. So,
well, Disney already did that once. They lobbied. They copyright for Mikey was supposed to come up, and then they lobbied to have copyright extended. So I think it was supposed to be like 50 some years, but then it got extended to longer. Now it's actually coming up again pretty soon.
Yeah, for Mickey Mouse and stuff like that.
But for a version of Mickey, not actually Mickey the character, but like that older version of Mickey, not the current Mickey.
Right.
I think there's another YouTuber who does, I forget his name, is a lawyer, and he kind of breaks down a lot of these things. Like he just recently broke down the I think it was him. Did he break down the Dungeons and Dragons pretty recently?
Yeah, that was I saw that video a few days ago.
Yeah,
he because he has, there's all these lawyers in YouTube, and his I guess friend lawyer who usually breaks down this topic is sick and is recovering from the hospital. So he did the topic to raise money for his friend, and it was a pretty well researched breakdown of the law of the preview of the license. Well, despite the terrible things that came out of the new license, and I'm sure that they're gonna try to litigate this ruling. I'm not even sure if they're gonna go through with it, because they're feeling the pressure from both their parent company and the people that use their content. So I'm not really sure how this is going. All I know is that the shows that I'm watching, D&D shows, they're gonna get affected. The people that I like borrow content from because they put it out for free, they make new campaigns and all that, they're gonna get affected. So in a way, I'm actually kind of invested in this struggle.
Right.
I just know that it's gonna end badly if that new law comes in, or the new licensing gets put in place, if they don't backtrack.
Well, I will follow this closely to see what happens, because I actually am interested to see how this plays out. So, all right. Well, that's Paulo.
That's Keith.
That's Otis.
And we'll see you guys on our next drop.
Peace.
Peace.
Later.